What's going on? Making another video. I like to cover a lot of different bases. I think that the issue concerning the LGBTQ community and in particular the transgender community within that community is an extremely important issue to address on many levels. The primary level being the fact that children are being allowed to transition from one gender to another by mutilating them, basically blocking their puberty, irreversible acts that we have no long-term studies. So another issue that has really been pronounced in my mind is how the entire LGBTQ community is being viewed from the lens of a very small subgroup of a very small subgroup. And when I say that, LGBTQ, the T is transgender, and that is a subgroup of the group. And of that transgender group, there is probably about 10 to 15%. I don't have numbers on that. But I would say there is a very small fringe element that gets most of the attention, most of the press. Their voices are heard and they are given the most precedence. They will put an entire women's team out of a locker room because they don't feel comfortable, just so that one trans woman can be in there with a ding dong swinging. Make it make sense. Anyway, I just want to let this play. I feel like the largest and the biggest issue in dealing with this situation is the children and how they are affected for a lifetime. I think that's the main situation that needs to be addressed, and that'll be the main thing that is the greatest detriment to our society. The second thing, I believe, is the representation of the entire LGBTQ community. I feel like if you are a conservative, even if you're a moderate, if you're someone who is not overly educated about the LGBTQ community, or you have biased beliefs about whatever, whether it's from a religious perspective, whether you just don't understand or you don't know or you don't like, whatever the case might be, there, in my mind, is a huge jump from not understanding, not agreeing, to being a transphobe or a homophobe. And I think the problem is there's too many individuals that are moderates and that are conservatives that are not willing to even have the conversation because, god dang, why should they? They're just going to get labeled, called names, people are going to talk shit. So I think that we need to understand that there is a specific difference within this community. And I think it's important that that is focused on, because at the end of the day, the LGBT community is here and they are growing, and they are not all flakes. They are not all crazy. They do not all want to see children transition. And I think that not only is that the case, but the vast majority of the LGBTQ community as a whole does not feel the way of the very small subgroup of the subgroup that have these beliefs and these ideologies. Now, I'm not part of the LGBTQ community. I like women, biological women. So maybe I'm not the one to speak on it, but I can stand a straight, and I'm always looking for a conversation. So I'm not trying to preach to the choir. I'm not trying to talk to the people necessarily that have the open-minded mindset that I have. I want to talk to the people that can benefit from understanding that there are two sides of this coin and everything is not just this radical bullshit. So take a listen, try to get through this. I might skip a little bit because there's a few main points that I want to make, and I see now that when I get to talking, my videos get long. I guess if you like my videos, that's cool. If you don't like them, you're probably not watching them anyway, so here we go. Amir Odom. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. I like him.
The last 3 to 5 years, gay relations within the United States have been plummeting, and there's a clear answer why. The TQ+. The LGB has nothing to do with the TQ+ community. The LGB is strictly biology and sexuality, and the TQ+ is all identity and expression of the personality. They have nothing.
Okay, I want to go back. I want to play that again. If I could think of a way to paraphrase an explanation of the community, the LGBTQ community, and I wanted to do it in a manner that was going to catch people's attention and make people want to listen more, I couldn't come up with something better than these last few lines here. So I'm just going to play them again, and we can go from there.
The TQ+. The LGB has nothing to do with the TQ+ community. The LGB is strictly biology and sexuality.
The LGB is strictly biology and sexuality. Lesbian, gay, bisexual. And keep that in mind. Strictly biology and sexuality. That's LGB. QT plus.
And the TQ+ is all identity and expression of the personality. They have nothing to do with each other. It's
identity and expression of the personality.
hard making sense of the world that we live in today when the TQ+ is saying women have bulges.
We all just normalize women having bulges sometimes.
Biological men don't exist.
There's no such thing as biological men. That's not a real thing. That is a transphobic dog whistle.
And we can't even define what a woman is.
What is a woman? I don't think it's like defined. I think if somebody identifies as a woman, then they are a woman.
Speaking of making sense of the world we live in, I want to thank Atlas VPN for protecting me in the online world.
All right, we're not going to listen to the ads. I appreciate he's making a buck. I love it. But we're going to go a little bit.
Separate groups. One has everything to do with who someone is with, and another has everything to do with how that person presents themselves, what their personality is like, if they're suffering gender dysphoria, a whole ball of things. And don't forget TQ+, that plus being an additional thing that just keep adding to the list. LGB, clearly defined, we know what it is, we know what it stands for, and it's done. The TQ+ is not. And on that note, biology matters. There's male and there's female, and the LGB is rooted and depends on biology to even exist.
Before he goes on, I just want to make this a critical understanding and a point of reference to discerning the two groups within the groups. The LGB is dependent on biology and science and chromosomes. It is dependent on it. Without it, it's like, I guess I was going to say you can't have the yolk without the shell. Whatever, just listen.
Exists. The definition of a homosexual is to be sexually attracted to one's own sex. The definition of a heterosexual is to be attracted to the opposite sex. The definition of bisexuality is to be attracted to both sexes. Again, male and female. Sex is biology. It's not about culture. It's not how someone presents themselves. It's not about what gender someone says they are. It's literally biology.
Unfortunately, that is the initial and the most important sticking point that you can't get past, because the individuals that don't believe in the biology just skip it altogether. So it's like telling an atheist, quoting the Bible and saying, how could you, don't you see the book of says they don't care because they don't believe in God. These people don't care because they don't believe in biology or science, or that they believe the ability of expression is more solid? I don't know. I'm not sure. You can never get any type of an explanation of the foundation of their beliefs. Typically, if you have an issue, at least this is how I try and go about things, and I teach my daughters the same thing. If you're going to have an opinion on something, other than just a base opinion, oh, I like the taste of this ice cream, or I don't. If you're going to have an opinion about a political view, a religious view, whatever the case might be, make sure that you're well informed. You can have whatever view you want. That's cool. But don't be an uninformed individual when it comes to important matters. So this is just basic common sense. Biology matters. So again, they're not the same. The LGB and the QT plus, I've been saying for as long as anybody will listen that I have this conversation with, that I think the LGB should break off. I don't know how you do that, but if they don't, a decade from now, I bet they wish they did.
Only way you can change this is by creating new words and changing the definition. And that's exactly what the TQ plus side of things are doing. The erasure of woman. Content creator Savannah Edwards summed this up really well. The use of cisgender terms has nothing to do with male and female. It has everything to do with affirming a trans person's identity. In order for the phrase trans women are women to make sense, you have to change what woman means. Let's dive into this. So we have female, which is a...
I like the way he does what he's about to do right here, because it's basic, it's obvious, but it's like, and this wouldn't be a big deal, really, if it was just a fringe. It is just a fringe, but somehow this fringe has taken hold, and it is encompassed an entire nation, an entire part of the human population. And not enough people are saying anything about it. I don't know where we think that gets us. If we just sit back and chill, we don't say shit, we don't have any sort of an argument, we don't have any sort of a debate, we don't further any sort of conversation other than, sure, Johnny, chop your dick off, then where are we at? And I think that it's important in this conversation to understand that there are major differences within this community, because nobody's talking to the detransitioners. Nobody's talking to the doctors that have dealt with them. Nobody's talking to the people that have been transgender for 20, 30 years and tell you that this is wrong. They're just Uncle Toms and bootlickers and what, I don't know. That's what they call black people that don't think like Democrats. Uncle Toms. I don't know what they call transgender people that don't think like. Anyway, listen to this. This is pretty good. This is very good.
Biological woman, and then you have a girl, which is a biological female child, and then you have a woman, which is a biological female adult. Very cut and dry. It's been this way for forever. But now we have a cis woman, which is a biological woman that identifies as a woman, and you have trans woman, which is a biological man that identifies as a woman. And we've effectively turned woman into an identity, and we've stripped biology away from that, including female. So female isn't even biology anymore, it's just an identity. And the problem that we have is we have a growing subset of biological women, just women, that's what we used to call them, women, getting upset because they are not an identity. Being a woman is not an identity, it's their reality. This is their real life, they are a woman. Being a woman and being a female is not about an identity, it is their existence. This is why some women find offense with Dylan Mulvaney, because Dylan Mulvaney started their career making a mockery off of every woman and all the stereotypes that they have.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send. I ordered dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't fine.
I've always wondered, since the beginning of this whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, where has the outrage, like the explosive, can't do nothing about it, just got to respect it. They're coming so hard that we just got to hear them. Where is that from the women? Like, how are these dudes coming along, claiming to be women, and getting a bigger platform than women? Where are the women that are like... I do understand that cancellation is real, that people losing their jobs are real, that this thing has taken a hold. So I don't want to sit here and sound like, oh, why the fuck aren't you standing up and burning this shit down? I understand why you're not. But there has to be something else that can be done. We got to figure something out. Can't just be like this. Imagine if this keeps going like this for 5, 10 more years. Anyway, I always thought this dude was mocking women, and I never understood how they got this dude at like day 270 was literally having an interview with Joe Biden, the president of the United States, the one who got 81 million votes, the most popular president ever. That motherfucker almost fell asleep during that. He tells him, I'm in day 270 of being a girl. Joe got his eyes closed. He's like, God bless you. Let's watch Dylan Mulvaney.
How'd I do, ladies? Good?
How'd I do, lady?
Good.
This is why some women find offense to the growing amount of trans women saying that they experience a period.
My period I experience every month is very real.
I think the really crappy thing about having a period every month, this is why some women find it an offense to be called a chest feeder and a birthing person.
Quote, birthing people. I've never heard the term before. Can you explain what it means?
There are certain people who do not have gender identities that apply to female or male.
They actually have a whole goddamn philosophy behind this nonsense. Like, she's sitting here spitting out all these talking points in an order that in her mind makes some sense, and enough sense for all the rest of the people that think like she thinks. She's sitting in front of one of the most powerful bodies in our country, the Honorable Solanda Young, acting White House budget director, says this when it comes to chest feeding. What the fuck is chest feeding? I've got 2 daughters, and I could imagine chest feeding. Shut the fuck up.
I think our language needs to be more inclusive in how we deal with complex issues.
The TQ Plus is demanding to be accepted and validated all at the expense of biological women. And that's exactly what J.K. Rowling was talking about. Her tweet stated, if sex isn't real, then there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and I love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. And like she said, we want to meaningfully discuss these topics. We want to be loving. We want to be respectful. This is about making sense of the world that we live in today. The TQ Plus...
I'm going to end it right there because this video is long. I'm always looking at these little videos and thinking I'm going to run through them almost at the pace that they are, not taking into account how much I run my mouth and what type of time that takes. So I'm going to break these little things into 2 parts. I got another half of a part to make on another one, but I'm going to get this up because I think this is important. I'm going to do the second part of this and get this up as well. But I appreciate y'all listening. I'm just trying to bring awareness to this situation. There's a discussion to be had. There's middle ground to be found with the right people, and there are remedies that will help because this situation moving forward is not going to get any better if we don't say, hey, hold the fuck on for just a minute here before you start playing God. So I appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, watch them every day. I'm coming out with them. And share them if you think somebody else needs to hear this, because this is a conversation that needs to be had, and we're going to have it. I appreciate y'all.